I'm Benjamin Brown, and I spent the first 20 years of my life trapped on a Mormon polygamist compound. It was a whole thing. It was intense. We were severely socially isolated. We were labor trafficked. We didn't attend school. We were abused. Not great, just super shitty. But now I am out here in the wicked world amongst the heathens. That's you. And I have to say, you guys, I'm having a fucking blast out here. It is so awesome. There are just so many amazing people and things and experiences to have, and I'm just like eating it all up. And you guys, I have not done most things. Like, I don't know what the Jackson 5 are. I've never seen Beetlejuice. In fact, I thought Beetlejuice had something to do with the paleo diet when I first heard about it. Last Thanksgiving was the first time I'd had a pumpkin spice latte. You guys, those things are so delicious. It was like...
Thank you, how we feeling? Give it up for my openers, weren't they fantastic? Oh, I'm so lucky to be surrounded by such generous and kind friends. Hi, you guys. I am the Fresh King Benjamin. I did, in fact, grow up on a Mormon Polygamist compound. This is true, yeah. So I come to you dressed in the dress of my people. Instead of marrying a bunch of women, I just became a woman. My dad is so proud of me. It's weird growing up polygamous, it's weird growing up Mormon and then coming to Vegas, because I have a lot of questions. Like, what the fuck is happening? I am so confused. And you guys are probably confused as well, so I'll get this out of the way first. Does anyone have any questions about the polygamy thing? Does anyone ever wanted to ask questions from a... Yes, sir, please.
Is there a number cap?
A number cap for wives? Wow. The more you get, the righteouser you are. Yeah. So, my dad had 3 wives, if you count the one that got away. So he was a shitty polygamist. He was not great. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Is there a schedule for sexy time?
Oh, is there a schedule for sexy time? It's interesting that you call it sexy time. Because, I mean, if you see me, this is not sexy. Someone said that this dress is flattering, meaning that it made me flatter. There's a schedule, and the way that it works is that the husband, the man, not me, obviously, he'll go to the different doors of the wives, and he'll put like a star on the door of the wife that he's going to fuck that night. Which is exciting. It's like, oh, a gold star. Gold star lesbian means something different than polygamy. But what's funny about that is that the wives, if the wives aren't feeling it, they'll just move the star. They'll kind of bounce it around. It's like pin the star on the door. But the husband can't tell because he doesn't know anything he has. If he's a good polygamist, my dad knew. They were just 2, because one of them bailed. Any other questions?
Is there a limit on kids?
Is there a limit on kids? No, again, the more the better. Because if we believe that there are spirit babies in heaven, and that any spirit babies in heaven that don't get born into righteous polygamous families get born into wicked families. Like your families. So we have to save the babies from you guys. Send them to kindergarten. Help them figure out if they're colorblind. I still don't know. questions? I just want to get, I want to say, yes, please, yes. What you got?
Why are you wearing a dress?
What's that? Am I wearing a dress?
Yes, sir.
Why?
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 Why am I wearing a dress? Because it's beautiful.
Pretty girl.
Thank you. Yes, the braids are, I've been working on the braids for a while. They're finally long enough. A good friend of mine did them for me this morning. She was a stripper. And so these are like polygamous stripper braids. Any other questions?
Holy underwear.
Oh, holy underwear. Yes, you guys heard about the holy underwear?
No.
Okay, so we do wear holy underwear, and it's magic underwear. But in order, it's magic. It really is. It protects you, and it depends on how righteous you are. Again, the longer your underwear is, the righteouser you are. So as you can see, I'm not that righteous. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. Any other questions? What's that?
What are the markings?
Oh, there are markings. Yes, you did a deep dive before this. You came prepared. There's one marking on this nipple.
What?
Yeah, this is true. So there's a little V on this nipple, and then there's a little L on this nipple, and then there's one here, and there's one on your knee. Yeah. And they symbolize that nipples are sensitive, and that women should get on their knees. And the men too, but for other men. It's a little game. This is great. You guys are like a really curious audience. This is fantastic. Yeah, do you have a question, sir? Oh, you were just adjusting your glasses. All the better to see me. What's that over here? A question? Yes?
So, like, what about the guys that don't have many wives?
Like my dad?
Half women, right?
Say that again?
Like, I assume y'all still give birth half men, half women. Like, what about the guys that don't have?
What about the guys that don't get a lot? So some of us turn into women. And some of us get cast out into the wicked world, which is what happened to me. Now I'm here with you guys. Yeah! Oh, please give it up for that. I'm thrilled to be with you guys. Y'all are very fucking great. I was warned about you guys, and they were right. But you guys are super fun. You're really fun. You are sinners. You're so, I mean, I have seen so many elbows today. You would not even believe. You guys, you gotta understand, seeing elbows is like third base for Mormons. Mostly because we never play baseball and have no idea how bases work. But the good news is that today, just today, I went to third base with 87 people. Yeah.
You're lucky.
Oh, thanks. It's a little exhausting. It's like Viagra all the time. Any other questions? Yes, right here on the, so polite, raising your hand. Yes. I do like being wicked, yes. Do you want to hear about some of my very favorite wicked things that I've done? Yeah. So right after I got out, I tried this thing called French kissing. Oh, it's so great. You can use your tongue. You don't have to get married first. I keep hearing about this thing called Australian kissing. What? Yeah, it's like French kissing, but you go down under. But I'm not exactly sure what that means. I've watched some rated R movies too. Yeah. If you watch the right ones, you can see boobies. Which is pretty great. What else wicked have I done? Oh, I had just last week I had my very first pumpkin spice latte. Yeah, it was, wickedness is so delicious, you guys. It was like Thanksgiving came in my mouth.
All right.
Yeah. Give it up. All right, sir, to you. Let's see. My favorite wicked thing that I've done since getting out is masturbating. Yeah, give it up for masturbating, you guys can. This is great. Yeah, I didn't know that it made you gay, but I'm fine with that. That's fine. But if I'm being honest, if I'm being real honest, I don't think masturbation is wicked. Because if God didn't want us to masturbate, then why the fuck did he make our arms this long? Like, because he could have given us tiny little T-Rex arms. That would have made it a little harder. He could have put like our junk on the back, like in that spot you can't quite. You gotta get an 8. You gotta go like blue. People also like to ask like where I grew up. So I actually didn't grow up in Utah. I grew up in Wyoming. Yeah. I don't know why that was the Wyoming response, because my response to Wyoming was ah. You live in Wyoming?
Yes.
Oh, so you get it.
I mean, worse.
Yeah, it is the worst. And I gotta be real. Not only is it the worst, but it also is like the worst polygamist too. Like Wyoming polygamists are kind of like Utah polygamists. They're just poorer and have more fireworks and fewer fingers, which makes it hard to take care of all the wives. You know, so you're like. So one of the things that is a little wild about my journey is that I actually escaped to Utah. I escaped to the vast and wicked liberal metropolis of Salt Lake City. And I've had friends up to Salt Lake, like Banks came up to Salt Lake recently. I took her out on the town, as it were. We went to the temple. We went to one bar and she tried to order a double vodka soda. And I was like, bitch, the only thing you can get doubles of in Utah are wives. This is actually true. You cannot order. Rob was bitching about not only being able to order 2 drinks. You cannot even order 2 drinks in Utah. It's illegal. Like if I tried to order 2 drinks and carry one of them to my friend, no, can't do that. It's illegal. And it's also illegal to pour like a double shot. So like a sex on the beach, you guys have had a sex on the beach? Can't get that shit in Utah.
3.4.
Yeah, because number 1, there's no beach. Number 2, there's no sex. So they gotta pour it modified. They gotta make them sex on the beach with a little bit less alcohol, which I think should be called like a just the tip on the beach. Maybe like a heavy petting on the beach. If it's Utah, it really should be called soaking on the beach. Do you guys know about soaking? Okay, never mind. Who does not know about soaking? Oh, yes, sir, I love it. Oh, so many soaking virgins. Oh, don't worry, I'll be so gentle. So, soaking, does anyone have an empty glass I can borrow? Can I use that, please? Thank you. Here, I'm just gonna put this in my pocket. I have to pull something out first. We'll play with this later. This is a seer stone that I got earlier today in Vegas. I just don't want to fuck up Kate's face, you know?
That's holy.
We're gonna take that home for the kids. So soaking is when 2 Mormons love each other. But sex is bad, and God is a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And so his vision is based on movement. And so what you do is you just... And that's it, that's the whole thing. Because this... straight to hell. But this... righteous. And thanks for that. Here you go. And a lot of people like to make fun of Mormons for soaking, but because they say it's dumb. I gotta be real. I think that soaking is pretty fucking hot. Because can you imagine? Just imagine for a moment. You're like so turned on that you're like, I just have to get in there. And you're there just trembling, dripping, and you know that if you sneeze, you're fucked. Ah, that's so kinky. That is like perfect edging. That's where you got. And ladies, be real with me. Would you rather have a guy who's like, or a guy who's just like looking deep into his soul, praying with every fiber of his being for an earthquake? Because if there's an earthquake, that's just God throwing you a freebie. One of the ways they've gotten around it too is they've actually made their own earthquakes. They have something called, so in addition to soaking, we have something called jump humping. Yeah, jump humping, which is where two people are soaking, and then a third person jumps on the bed. It's also called a Mormon threesome. It's also the most awkward conversation you'll ever have after a date. You knock on your roommate's door. Hey, Brad. You can come do me a solid. And my favorite thing about that is that I imagine that there was some dude at BYU, probably named Brad, and nobody ever invited him to soak. No one ever did. It was sad for him. But he was everyone's first call for jumping. Because he was in like the marching band. He had that big like drum that he'd carry on his chest. Perfect rhythm, great quads. He turned 97% of dudes he jumped on turned into one jump chumps. One and done. I've actually never soaked. But if anyone wants to give it a try later, soaking's pretty fun. Utah's pretty fun. I like being outside of Utah. I like traveling around. It was weird. It was a little weird growing up the way that I did. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. Just listen. Don't even worry. I have like 10 minutes written about it. Like you guys all went. I didn't go to elementary school because I was labor trafficked in my parents' bakery instead. Yeah, which I thought was a bum deal, and then I heard about middle school. And I will keep my childhood with labor law violations, you guys. And you can keep a melting pot of like hormones, vapes, and mean girls. Like, what the fuck? I wasn't abused, you guys were abused. I'm just kidding, I was totally abused. But I'm here now and I'm fine talking about it to strangers at a comedy club. I got my ink therapy earlier. I told Jason all about my childhood trauma. But one of the jobs that I had in my polygamous granola factory is I would take these giant pans of granola and I would dump them into a metal bucket. And then I'd reach in with my chapped polygamist hands. You snorted hard on that. Then you probably know that chapped polygamist hands is one of the worst flavors of granola. But we'd break them into bite-sized pieces, and after we would bag them up, we'd be left with like this powdery residue, like kind of like a granola dirt. And that's what we would eat for breakfast. And so one day I was done working like a 6-hour shift. I went home for breakfast. Some of you are good at math. And you know what time you're supposed to eat breakfast. Went home for breakfast. I looked in my bag of granola dirt, and I saw a giant chunk of granola in the granola dirt. And I was stoked. Because I'd like seen this stuff bagged up and shipped off to rich people, like in Vegas, but never had I partaken of the crunchy goodness. So I scoop it up, go to my table, I pour in my milk, say a prayer to polygamist Jesus. Polygamist Jesus, by the way, worst Jesus. Worst Jesus. You want to know what my favorite Jesus is? Not baby Jesus. Anyone else have a guess?
Black Jesus.
Black Jesus, also not my favorite, but that was the real one.
Sweet baby.
What was that? What was that?
Sweet baby Jesus.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus. No, that's even worse than baby Jesus. Why do you know that he's sweet? I guess he was like, eat my body. No, my favorite Jesus is kinky Jesus. Kinky Jesus, yeah. And I guarantee you that Jesus was kinky. His whole thing is he's like gonna take on the punishment of all of us. He's like, no, Daddy. Don't punish them. Punish me. Punish me harder, Daddy.
Oh my God.
He's also like weirdly obsessed with people touching his holes. He gets resurrected, he comes up to people, he's like, touch the holes in my hand. Touch the hole in my side. Like, we get it, Jesus. You're holy. But if I'm being real, I think Jesus was actually probably pretty dumb. I mean, he went to trade school. That whole thing with like the 5,000 loaves and fishes and stuff, that was just a math problem gone wrong. How many disciples can I feed with 5 loaves and 2 fishes? Fucking 5,000! And really, like, Jesus' entire religion is obvious. Like, did we really need the Son of God to come down and be born of a virgin to tell us to love each other? It seems like we would have figured that out after a couple of campfire orgies. Jesus is out here like mansplaining brotherly love. He's like, hey guys, I'm the Son of God. And he said we should love each other. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. That was actually pre-Sherlock, so it would have been like, no jizz, Jesus. No jizz, Jesus is actually why some Christians are celibate. Actually, what I really think is that the reason that Christians are celibate, and the reason that religions sometimes are kind of anti-sex, is that the people who start religions don't know how to get laid. Like, do you think that the Buddha would have been like sitting under the Boda tree contemplating suffering if he was getting mad pussy? Do you think that Mohammed would have been like out in a cave in the desert if he had game? Do you think that Joseph Smith would have had 37 women marry him if he didn't have God as his wingman? Anyway, so I said a prayer to polygamist Jesus to please bless my granola dirt. And I scooped up the chunk of granola and I shoved it in my mouth, and it was cat shit. Which was still better than yesterday's breakfast. It was cat shit, because some cat had found our bag of granola dirt and used it as a litter box, and I found the treasure. Which is how I learned, man, that chapped polygamous hands is actually only the second worst flavor of granola. So if you've ever wondered what it's like to grow up polygamist, it's kind of like finding a chunk of granola in your granola dirt. Yeah, and then realizing that it was cat shit the entire time. It's also kind of what it's like to grow up Mormon. Anyway, so I did that. People like to know what it was like to grow up polygamist, and I have to tell you, I got stared at a lot in Costco. You guys ever been to the St. George Costco? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, there we go. Do you guys just go to Costco in St. George? Does Vegas not have Costco? Well, we would go there, we'd pull up in our, giant 18-passenger Polygmobile. Out would come like a couple of sturdy bitches, a gaggle of like 16 or 17 little piglets. Everyone's like trying to look at you but not look at you. Done this. Caca! It's the Homogamos. The Homogamos. Everyone turns into shitty ventriloquists when the polygamists are around. Which is weird, because it's kind of like you're scared of us. But what you don't know is that polygamists are like wild animals. We are way more scared of you. And honestly, it's not like polygamy is contagious. It's not like you have to social distance or you'll catch another wife. 6 feet or 6 wives, you decide. In fact, there are probably a couple of polygamists here tonight. It's this guy right here for sure. First wife, second wife, third wife, hot wife. But if you're looking around trying to find a dude with like 3 wives, you're doing it wrong. Because wives 1 and 2, they didn't come out tonight. They're at home doing laundry. And there's a lot of laundry. He only brought wife 3 because she's fun. And new. And 12. Just kidding, you guys. The youngest wives that I knew were 14. Or as the Mormons say, several months shy of their 15th birthdays. So I left the compound in 2007. So I was released the same year as the iPhone. And I gotta be real, it was kind of hard to come out in 2007 because you all were a lot more judgmental back then. But now I love that laugh, yeah, kind of. Ha ha ha, judgment. Fuck those polygamists. Ha Don't apologize. That's fine. We know that we're actually okay with you judging us because we're more righteous than you. We're winning. But it was hard to come out in 2007. But now when I tell people that I was raised polygamous, they're like, "Cool, I'm a polyamorous queer witch," which is kind of fun. That's a cool thing to be. Hell yeah. And what I was warned about. I left the compound because my parents wanted a lawyer in the family, which should have been a red flag. You know who else has lawyers in the family? This is Vegas, the mafia. And so they looked at me and they were like, "This one reads. Off you go." So they sent me off to school, which meant that I had to change a little bit. I had to blend in. So I actually brought a little bit of a, just to help you guys see it. We'll get to that later. So I go to school. Thank you. I learned how to put pants on just today. I don't have my markings to cover this up.
You're underdogs.
They took him away. Just as God intended. I show up at college and I'm like, "Hey, I'm like you guys." And they're like, "No, you're not. You brought fucking food storage." This is true. One of the things that I actually brought to college was a 5-gallon bucket of molasses. Nothing says I've never been around other people like 5 gallons of molasses. I still have 4 gallons left. If you come over to my house, I will give you some of my college molasses. And that's not a euphemism, that's me trying to get rid of molasses. I'm at school. I joined the LDS church because I needed a diet cult. To kind of wean myself off. I needed a cult that would let me soak.
One more.
A one-wife cult, yeah, one wife. And I immediately get married. We immediately have a kid because nothing says I've moved on from polygamy like immediately locking down wife number 1 and procreating. And I like being a dad. I like having kids. I like it mostly because I like to teach them how to swear. Like I'll go out to places like Vegas and I'll hear cool words. And I'll come back to them and I'll be like, "Do you want to hear a new word?" This is true. My oldest, when he was 6, he came up to me and he was like, "Dad, what's a swear word?" And I was like, "I'm so excited to tell you this. There are words that we've all decided are bad, but they're not bad, they're just powerful." And she's like, "Well, will you give me one?" And I said, "I will through the veil." That's how I know there are no Mormons in this audience. That joke kills with Mormons. Kills. Just trust me, it's great. But I'm like, "Look, but if I give you these words, then you've got to prove to me that you can use them responsibly. How are we going to do that?" And he said, "Well, what if you give me one word and then I won't say it for a week, and then that'll show you that I can use these words responsibly." And I'm like, "If you do that for a month, you have yourself a deal." So we shook hands, I leaned down and I whispered in his ear and I said, damn. Kind of workshopped it a little bit, got the flavor of it on his tongue, sent him out. Comes back up to me next month and he's like, hey Dad, I didn't use that word. And I was like, damn. That is correct. Well, get ready for number 2. Shit. This went on for months. For months, you guys. Then the next one was bitch. Then it was ass. Then it was bastard. Then it was cunt. I'm just kidding. I just barely got brave enough to say that word. And look, the reason that I'm now brave enough to say that word is that I have met a couple of cunts. And I don't like that word is used to, demean women. I think women are great. Obviously, I want to be one. They're fantastic. They're lovely. And some of you are total cunts. And when I use that word, what I imagine is like a vagina. And the owner of the vagina has just been like walking around, just grabbing like dirt and rocks and sticks and just shoving it up inside of this vagina. And it's like got blisters now. It's like oozing, like this trail behind it, pus. And you gotta be careful, because if that shit gets on you, it turns you into a cunt goblin. You gotta do the will of the cunt. Anyway, so I did not teach my 6-year-old that word. I was building towards my favorite word, which is fuck. Yeah. Fuck is great. I love fuck because I found fuck in the wild as a little polygamous child. And the way that I found it is, do you guys remember like when you guys were going to elementary school and I was getting labor trafficked? There was this thing that would go around, you do with people's names like, sir, what's your name?
Mondo.
Mondo. So it would go Mondo, Babondo, Banana, Fana, Fofondo, Mondo. Yeah. That shit made its way onto the compound in like 1997. And it was rad. It was the most interesting thing that ever happened. And I heard that and I was like, that is great. And so I would do it on like, I did it on like Book of Mormon names. I'd be like, Nephi, Bo Nephi, Banana Fana, Fofi, Nephi, Mo Nephi. I would do it on like, the dogs around the ranch. There was like one named Bell. I'd be like, Bell, Banana Fana, and one of the dogs was named Tucker. Yeah. So in front of one of the many adults that were there, I don't remember which one because they all looked the same to me. I was like, Tucker, Babucker, Banana Fana, Bofucker, Tucker. Yeah. And then I got cayenne put on my tongue. Yeah, because I said a bad word. But I didn't know which one of those words was bad. And so I made a list. Tucker, Bobucker, Banana Fana, Fo, Fucker, Me, My, Mo, Mucker. And then I would just casually drop them in conversation. To just kind of, I'd be like, that horse sure is a bucker. It's not bucker. Bucker is fine. So I was really excited to use this word, to teach this word to my child. But then I made a mistake, and we were driving together in traffic, and somebody cut me off, probably like a Mormon bishop or something. And I was just like, fuck! And he hears it in the back seat. And he's been in a master class of swearing for like 8 months. And so he immediately knew what that word was. But because he found it in the wild, it wasn't bound by the rules. Which is how he ended up telling my wife to go fuck herself. Anyway, I'm divorced now. I'm divorced, which means that, which is just a representative that you can fail at polygamy and still not be good at monogamy.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm not a polygamist, I'm really more of a no-ligamist. Like a no thank you ligamist. And I like being divorced, mostly because I like being able to walk out of any conversation I want to be a part of. Like, you think I won't walk out of this Applebee's? Bitch, I ended a marriage! The divorce was kind of hard though. We got divorced. It was all final, it was all done. And then like 6 months after our divorce was final, my ex decided that she wanted to relitigate. Which meant that even though I was never a polygamist, I still had to get divorced twice. Which felt wrong. None of the benefits, you know? But I like being out here now. I like kind of discovering, I like exploring, I like finding myself. I've been dating a lot. Anyone else? And I like dating. I recently got, I don't want to brag, but I recently was dating in Utah and I got a blowjob. Yeah, it was pretty great. It was a Utah blowjob. Utah blowjobs are a little bit different. I will. Yes, ma'am. So with a Utah blowjob, you have to say a prayer first. And I'm the man, so obviously I asked her to say it. And she said, Heavenly Father, please bless this blowjob. That it'll nourish and strengthen our bodies. And please bless the hands that prepared it. In the name of Polygamist Jesus, amen. And then I stood up, and she just stayed kneeling down. She took me in her hands. Okay, she took me in her hand. Okay, she took me in her fingers.
Stop.
And then I immediately came in her face. You guys have been so much fun. Thank you for coming out tonight. Have a great time. Get home safe.